Hey, everybody. The sound is muffled. Is it still muffled? Can't hear me. Alrighty then. Hold on. I got my little friend tonight. Hello, Citrine. How are you? Can you hear me better now? Yep, Superfan is still on. Let me check again. I decided I would just keep it on all the time. I don't know. Let me restart the phone. Always something. Like always something. Always something. Always.
It sounded like you were in a tin can.
That's what they're saying, so I restarted it. I think it's Citrine. I think she's the guilty one. It's you, isn't it, Sit Sticks? Hello. How is everyone over there in the White Channel tonight? Do, 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 do. Good. All right, let's try this again.
Look at how pretty this L'Oreal shadow stick is. It just glides on. Bring it right where I...
No, another one. Let's see if Superfan is on, and it is. So let's test it and see. Is that better? Hello? Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Still muffled? I don't know. I don't know. It's gotta be TikTok then. Let me, I mean, there's no, I don't know. TikTok doesn't have any updates. Let me try taking it off of Wi-Fi. Okay, I turned it off of Wi-Fi. Is that any better? Worse? I don't know, guys. Maybe come over to YouTube. I mean, I restarted it, so I don't know. Can't even hear. All right, let's move it over to... Let's move it over to YouTube. Go to the white channel if you would. I mean, I don't know. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, 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 hello. Not better. Thank you, honey. Let me close out of it. Hold on. I swear. Always something with TikTok.
I fill my socket, then I just grab a brush.
Let me try it again.
That's a breathable topper called Microlines. It's a hair replacement piece that stays on permanently 24/7.
Now the stripper said to spray this in your hair, on your wrists, and in your bosom behind.
Hello, hello. 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 Hello, hello, hello. Keep it twisted. Hello. Anyone out there? Speak. Yes, Julie. Twice. 3 times. Is it still muffled? Is it slightly. Hello? I know it, Jester. I'm on my phone. Because the only way that the superfan shows up now is on the phone, not out here. One second.
Testing 1, 2, 3. This is Mr. Night Queen speaking to the Queen. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, honey? Okay. You can hear it. It just sounds like something out of the 1920s, like an old microphone out of the 1920s. Okay, just testing it.
A guest appearance from Mr. Night Queen himself. The only other thing that I can do is I can go live on my iPad. I just won't be able to have the option of Superfan. So y'all let me know. What do you want to do? Hello, Brian. Welcome in. Hello, Lord Vader. Y'all just let me know. If it's too bad, then I can go to my big iPad. I have it right here. You can hear me? All right, hang tight. I try to do special things for my super fans, but I don't want us to be miserable either. So hang tight. Stopping this live In 3, 2, 1, gone. What? I'm just gonna.
Hear you that time.
Huh?
I was able to hear you.
It didn't sound like a tin
It
can.
was at first, and then right when you said I'm getting ready to stop at 1, 2, 3, your voice was perfect.
Of course it was. Of course it was.
It's messing me up every time you do that because I've got to restart all these things.
I'm sorry, Spunk. He's fussing. All right, now let's try it. If it sounds like it on this, then I don't know what to tell you. Oh, I gained more followers on the other channel. Nice. I mean, in all actuality, I like going live from the bigger iPad because I feel like I have more real estate with it. So, but I'm easy. I mean, you know, whatever works best for everyone, that's what I'm game for. So. Hello. Am I good? Am I good? Much better. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Night Queen. Love you. Mean it. Okay. I'm not going live from my phone anymore. This is what I like. And it's time for the story. Well, so I don't know. But anyway, I've got my phone back. That is what I like reading from anyway. Gives me more freedom. How is everyone? Hey, Pastelina. Yeah, screw the super bad chat thing. It messes up everything. Hey, Magic Moon. I'm done with it. I'm done. Hello, XJ. Love you, Pink. I did, Amy, but the phone was almost dead. Very good. Hello, Martha. Hey, boss man. Hey, Kelly. Hello, Justine. Hello. You just put up that video that you posted, Magic. That was beautiful. I wanted to be there. Hey, Jackie O'Connell. Hello, Shirley. Hello, Eric Jones. Howdy, howdy. Where did my white channel people go? They came back to TikTok. I was like, oh wow, I've got a good group in there. Hey, Kimmy. Hello, Amber Dowdy. Hey, Jim Rocks. It could have been that it was charging, I guess. I mean, but I did it the other night and it was fine. So I don't know. Who in the heck knows? But we are here now, and tonight is Crimson Queen. Welcome to Twisted Tales Live. I am your host, Bryn Morgan. I am also a horror author and a teller of scary stories. Tonight is Crimson Queen, my vampire novel. And tonight, it's about to get dark. Your bits, Melanie, your bits. We'll start in 3 minutes. Hey, Al, please go ahead and repost, share the live. Don't forget to sing your daily Hard Me and your Go Popular. That helps you out too. And let's tap, tap, tappity, tap, 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 tap. Princess, thank you for reposting. Thank you. Hello, Sherry. Has it been a bad week, Melanie? I'm sorry. Hello, Kristen Nicole. Thank you for sharing the live. Hello, Marianne. Welcome in. Hey, who's that girl? How you doing? Yes, thank you for sharing to the FYF. Thank you so much. Welcome in, Night Dwellers. When we get monetized on the White Channel, we will do our super fan thing there. You know, I don't know. I don't like the fact that we can't have our own super fan live because on there, TikTok won't let you play music. What is a story without music? Right. Hey, Palm. Hello, Mia. Good job, Jackie. Thank you so much. Leo Boussier, welcome in. Welcome in, everyone. Thank you for sharing the live, Shauna. Much appreciated. Why doesn't everyone let everyone know where you're from in the chat? Let's get to know one another. And if you're new here, let us know. We love new Night Dwellers. One minute. Boring Maryland. Oh my goodness. You just made my day. You seriously just made my day. That is the best thing, Kristen. Hello, Eddie Santiago. Julie in New Orleans, I'm jealous. I hear so many great stories from there. You made my day. You made the Night Queen laugh. You really, really did. Oh my goodness, that is great. Let's give it 5 more minutes because we had to come in, go out, come in, go out. No, you're not, Who's Dead Girl. Are you really? Are you in boring Maryland? That made me laugh. It really did. You love vampires, Rhonda? So do I. I've had a cold all day, so I'm trying to sip a lot of water. North Carolina, whoop whoop. I'm so glad you enjoy it. Four minutes. Hey, Raybab. Is it really your favorite night? I love it. Thank you, Raybab. Thank you. Hello, Grandma Hippie. Thank you for the follow. Grandma Hippie, do you like vampires? Three minutes. Hello, Carol. I'm good. How are you? Wonderful, Grandma. You would love. If I had to be any monster, I would be a vampire. I think it's the most romantic. I think it's the most powerful. I was asked that question once, and you know they were like, "Would you want to be a zombie? Would you want to be a vampire? Would you want to be a werewolf?" Vampire, a beautiful vampiress who lives in a castle. Wait, that's my novel. Oh, True Blood. Yes, True Blood is good. Hey, Diana Stewart. Hey, Diana. You sleep all day, you party all night. That is it. You want to be a You want to be a vampire witch? Ooh. Love it. 1 minute. Get your snacks, your blanket. Have you shared with someone tonight? Vibrance, temperance, 15. Who doesn't like vampires? You have your wine and pasta? Perfect. You have animal crackers? I love those with an ice cold glass of milk. I'm just a kid at heart. I really am. Truly. Let's begin. Welcome to the Night Realm. I am the Night Queen, and this is Twisted Tales Live. Tonight, the story of Crimson Queen continues. Are you ready? Let me see it in the chat. Hello, Brian 1961. It is so good to have you in here. Hello. All right, Pamela, I see that. Hello, Kim. Been ready for a week. Brian, not only this channel, but now I have Paranormal Files Live, and I remember how much that you like paranormal. You'd love it over there. Hello, Renee. Let's begin. Lower your lights. Lock your doors. Light your candle as I did mine. Pull your curtains nice and tight. Wrap yourself in your warmest blanket to avoid the chills that are about to crawl up your spine. And let's begin. When we last left Blackstone Manor, Kalitza Veyron had did a terrible thing. She had drained Evangeline of all of her blood and made her a puppet. But the puppet did not last. She ended up crashing through a stained glass window and heaving herself over the balcony of Blackstone Castle. We return there now. The great hall had fallen into a reverent, terrible silence. Everyone had been ushered out, nobles, servants, guards, leaving only a handful of soldiers standing watch at the doors, and the royal physician bent over Evangeline's still body. He worked slowly, carefully, methodically, opening eyelids to examine clouded pupils, testing joints for rigor mortis. Something wasn't right. Pressing his fingers against pulse points already cold as winter stone. The bride's body lay on the marble floor exactly where it had fallen. Her white gown spread around her like broken wings. Her dark hair fanned across the stone, face turned toward the shattered window as if trying to still escape. Beautiful she was, even in death. But wrong. So terribly, impossibly wrong. The physician frowned, his weathered face creasing with confusion as he examined her. He pressed his fingers against her neck, against her wrist. Nothing. Against the inside of her elbow. Nothing. He leaned closer, his breath misting in the cold air. He pressed harder against her shoulder, her neck, her inner arm, feeling for the subtle swell of veins. The faint give of blood filled vessels. And then his face blanched, went white. His hands began to shake. "No," he whispered. "No, that's impossible." He leaned even closer, his nose nearly touching her skin now. He pressed against her forearm with trembling fingers. The skin was tight, dry, empty. Completely, horrifyingly empty. He fumbled for his lantern with shaking hands and held it over her body, illuminating the pale, translucent skin in the harsh golden light. The veins beneath, normally dark blue or purple, visible beneath the surface, were flat, collapsed, like empty riverbeds after a drought. He lifted her wrist with both hands and squeezed gently. No blood beaded at the puncture wounds in her throat. Wait. Puncture wounds in her throat. No fluid moved beneath the surface. No pressure built against his fingers. Nothing. Gods preserve us. His breath hitched as he stumbled backward, knocking over a stool. It clattered across the marble with a sound like breaking bones. The guards stiffened, hands flying to their weapons. "What did you find?" One demanded, his voice tight with barely controlled fear. Fear because the physician's face was like a ghost. The physician could barely speak. His lips moved soundlessly for a moment before words finally emerged. Broken, horrified, disbelieving. There's no blood left in her." The room seemed to inhale sharply, as if the castle itself had drawn breath. "What do you mean?" The guard pressed, stepping closer. "I mean..." The physician swallowed hard, his throat working convulsively as he stared at the 2 holes on the side of her neck. I mean, she's completely drained. Every vein, every vessel, every single drop of blood has been taken from her body. She is..." He gestured helplessly at the corpse. "She's an empty shell. A husk. There's nothing inside her." Silence fell like a shroud. Then a soldier whispered, his voice shaking. "Then how is she standing and dancing? How was she speaking at her own wedding? How was she..." He couldn't finish. Couldn't bring himself to say it. How was she dancing? The physician's face was ash white, his eyes wide and glassy with the kind of terror that comes from understanding something that simply should not be understood. "She wasn't," he said simply. The words hung in the air like a curse. She wasn't alive. Not during the ceremony, not during the feast. Not when she... His voice broke. "This is sorcery. This is necromancy." "It's necro what?" "Someone was puppeting her corpse. Someone was..." He couldn't continue. He turned and staggered toward the door, nearly tripping over his own robes in his haste. I must tell the Queen immediately. This is an abomination. This is..." He broke into a run, his footsteps echoing through the empty hall as he sprinted up the grand staircase toward Ella's solar. His voice echoing down the stone corridors in a rising, desperate cry. "Your Majesty! Your Majesty! The double doors opened. "What is it?" Ian commanded. "It's... Spit it out, man! It's Evangeline! Something is terribly wrong!" Ella turned from the window. "Let him in." "What's wrong? What did you find?" "Your Majesty, she's been drained." "Drained? She has not one drop of blood in her veins." "She's been dead, Your Grace." The words bounced off ancient stones, carried through shadowed hallways, reached ears that had been waiting, dreading to hear them. And in her solar, Queen Ella Snow rose slowly to her feet, her blue eyes rimmed in red, blazing with cold fury. "How do you know that she was drained?" "Because she has puncture marks on her throat." "Find Calypso Veyron," she said quietly, her voice carrying absolute authority. "Now." Ella Snow stood in the center of her solar, her hands pressed flat against the ancient oak table, her knuckles white with the force of her grip. The physician's words still echoed in her mind. Drained. Completely drained. Dead for days. Puncture wounds at her throat. Her blue eyes narrowed, blazed with a cold, terrible fury that made even Ian take a step back. The physician just stood. The soldiers stood. "Did you not hear what I said? Bind Calypso Veyron now!" she repeated, her voice dropping to a deadly whisper. "Bring her to me now." Ian moved immediately, his hand on his sword hilt as he strode toward the door. "I'll take a full guard detail. Take everyone." Ella interrupted, her voice sharp as breaking ice. Her voice had never been so loud. "Every guard in this castle. I want her chamber surrounded. I want every staircase blocked. I want..." She paused, her breath coming faster. "I want her in chains, dragged to me." "It shall be done, my queen," one of the guards said. Seraphina stepped forward, her ancient face grave. "My queen, if she is what we suspect, if she has been practicing the forbidden arts, she will not come quietly." Ella turned and looked at Seraphina. "Very well. Then she will come violently." Ella snarled. "I don't care how they bring her. Just bring her to me." Nero was already moving toward the door, her green eyes sharp with purpose. Then she closed her eyes. "There's someone else here. In the castle." Then she looked at Ella. Who? Who is here?" I can't. quite put my finger on it yet. Ian spoke up. I'll search her chambers myself. Do you really think that it was necromancy? Nira shook her head, as did the physician. The physician spoke. Without a doubt, Your Majesty. Ian nodded curtly and threw open the door, barking orders to the guards waiting in the corridor. Rouse every soldier. Surround Lady Veyron's chamber. No one enters or leaves without my direct command. Boots thundered against stone as guards scrambled to obey. Torches were lit, swords were drawn, and throughout Blackstone Castle the alarm began to spread like wildfire. The necromancer must be found. Far away, leagues and leagues distant, in a place where the world grew thin and dark things stirred, Morwen stood at the center of a circle beneath the caves carved into black stone. The chamber around her was vast and cold, its walls dripping with moisture that glowed faintly green in the darkness. Symbols older than memory covered every surface, runes of power, a binding of transformation. 7 candles burned at 7 points around the circle, their flames a sickly, poisonous green. They cast writhing shadows across the witch's face. Her serpent hair coiled and twisted, hissing softly, their scales gleaming like oil in the unnatural light. Her eyes burned with terrible purpose. Before her, suspended in midair, hung a sphere of swirling darkness. A miniature void, pulsing with malevolent energy that made the very air around it scream. She raised her arms slowly, her long fingers splayed, her voice rising in a language that not had been spoken in 1,000 years. Sonithra Vakthun, Ambrogketh Morzande. The words themselves seemed to corrupt the air, turning it thick and heavy and wrong. The sphere began to spin faster and faster and faster. The darkness within it deepened, became absolute, a black so complete it seemed to swallow the light itself. Morwen's voice rose higher, more urgent, more demanding. By blood and bone and ancient oath, by the power that dwells in shadow, by the covenant sealed in the first dark. Her eyes blazed brighter green. I command the light to die. She thrust both hands forward and the sphere exploded outward. A wave of darkness rushing from the chamber like a living thing, spreading across the land, racing toward the sky with impossible speed. And high above, the crimson moon began to change. Kalitza stood on her balcony, the wind whipping her cloak around like black wings. She could see the torches approaching across the yard. She could hear the steps coming up the stairs. Nixroth perched heavily on her shoulder. Her heart hammered in her chest. Her breath came in quick, sharp gasp. Behind her, Sylvie's body lay cooling on the chamber floor. Behind her, her entire life was crumbling into ash. Ahead was freedom, survival, power. She gripped the balcony railing, her knuckles white, and looked up at the crimson moon hanging in the sky. And as she watched, it began to darken, slowly at first. a shadow creeping across its blood-red surface like a stain spreading through silk. Kalitsa's eyes widened, and she softly smiled. Morwith. The eclipse was beginning. The shadows spread faster now, devouring the crimson light inch by inch, swallowing it into absolute darkness. And around the edges, a ring began to form. Blue, electric, impossible. A halo of brilliant sapphire light that pulsed and shimmered like lightning frozen in place. The wind died completely, utterly. The crimson snow stopped falling midair, hanging suspended like drops of frozen blood. And then, darkness. Total, absolute, suffocating darkness. The crimson moon vanished, consumed by shadow, leaving only that eerie blue ring glowing in the void. A cold, alien light that cast no warmth, no comfort, only a pale illumination that made everything look horribly wrong. Blackstone Castle plunged into darkness. Torches flickered and died. Candles guttered out. Even the magical lights that had burnt for centuries failed, snuffed out by the weight of the unnatural eclipse. Screams erupted from below, nobles crying out in terror, servants sobbing, guards shouting for order. And in that sudden, terrible darkness, Kalitsa felt it. Power. Raw. Ancient. Hers. The shadows wrapped around her like loving arms, welcoming her and embracing her. This was Morwen's gift. This was the cover that she needed. Kalitsa threw back her head and laughed. Come in, if you will, and try. She taunted the soldiers, a wild, exhilarated sound that was swallowed immediately by the darkness. Thank you, Mother. She whispered into the void, and then she leapt. Her body dropped from the balcony into nothingness, swallowed by shadow, and the darkness caught her, lifted her, wrapped around her like wings made of night itself. She shot upward into the sky, propelled by magic older than kingdoms, darker than death. Nixroth shrieked, a triumphant, terrible cry that echoed across the darkness. Below Blackstone Castle was a mass of confusion and terror. Guards stumbled blindly through corridors. Nobles huddled in corners. And in her sola, Ella stood frozen, staring at the window where the blue-ringed eclipse hung like a malevolent eye. What in the name of all? Ian breathed. Seraphina's voice was barely a whisper, choked with ancient fear. No. What is it? Do you know what this is? There was only a blue glare over the room. It's eclipse magic. Forbidden since the fall of the first queens. Nera spoke up. Only the most powerful witches can... She stopped. Her eyes went wide. Morwenth. Who? Who is Morwenth? The name fell into the darkness like a stone into a bottomless well. Ella's jaw tightened. Find Kalitsa, she repeated, her voice cutting through the chaos. Find her now before she... A guard burst through the door, his face pale, his voice shaking. Your Majesty. Lady Veyron's chambers. Yes? She's gone. The balcony doors are open, and what? There's a... Say it, Seraphina commanded. There's a body. Another body. Silence. Cold. Terrible. Ella's eyes blazed in the blue-tinged darkness. Who? One of the servants, Your Majesty. The young girl, Sylvie, He couldn't finish. Couldn't say the words. Drained. Just like Evangeline. Ella moved with sudden, violent purpose, sweeping past the guard, her cloak billowing behind her, taking flight up the stairs. Take me there! Now! Kalitza soared through the eclipsed sky, the darkness her ally, her shield, her sanctuary. The blue ring cast just enough light for her to see the landscape below. Blackstone growing smaller behind her, the forest spreading out like black oceans, the mountains rising like jagged teeth against the horizon. Nixroth rode her shoulder, digging his talons in, his red eyes glowing like embers in the dark. The child in her belly stirred, satisfied, content. She had fed. She had escaped. She had won. Behind her, chaos reigned. Ahead, her estate waited, her sanctuary, her fortress, where she would hide until the child was born, where she would grow strong, where she would become unstoppable. Morwen's voice whispered through her mind, proud and pleased. Well done, my serpent. Well done. Now fly far and fast. They will hunt you, but in the darkness you are invisible. In shadow, you are untouchable. Kalitza smiled, a cold, victorious smile that showed Sylvie's blood on her teeth. Let them try, she whispered into the wind, and she flew faster, cutting through the eclipsed night like a blade through silk. Behind her, the blue-ringed eclipse hung in the sky, a mark, a warning, a promise of dark things to come. And in Blackstone Castle, Ella Snow stood in Kalitza's chamber, staring down at Sylvie's drained corpse, her face a mask of cold fury. Find her, she said quietly, her voice trembling with barely controlled rage. Search every corner of this kingdom, every forest, every village. Do you hear me? She looked up at Ian, at Seraphina, and Neradin. And when you find her, her life will be short. Her blue eyes, rimmed in red, blazed with terrible promise. But first, I am going to enjoy her pain. Kalitza soared through the eclipsed sky, her cloak streaming behind her like a banner of shadow, the wind rushing past her ears in a triumphant roar. The blue-ringed eclipse cast its eerie light across the landscape below. Kalitza thought, how long would it last? How long before the eclipse is done and the crimson moon is back in its place? How long? Morwen's voice entered her mind again. Don't worry. It will stay long enough. Fly fast. The forest was reduced to black masses, rivers gleaming like veins of dark silver. Villages huddled in terrified silence as the unnatural darkness consumed the world. She was free. She had escaped. She had won. Nixraw's talons dug into her shoulder even more, anchoring himself as they cut through the air with impossible speed. His red eyes glowed like coals in the darkness, fixed on the horizon ahead where her estate waited. Her sanctuary. Her fortress. Her... No! Morwen's voice sliced through Kalitsa's mind like a blade through silk. Sharp, cold, absolute. Kalitsa's breath caught. Her flight faltered for just a moment and she hovered, her concentration breaking. What? She whispered into the wind. What do you mean, no? There was no response. Kalitsa hovered above her manor. You will not go to your estates, Morwen commanded, and her voice vibrated through Kalitsa's skull with such force that it made her vision blur. Do you think that Ella Snow is a fool? Do you think she will not send her guards, her spies, her hunters to every hold you keep? Kalitsa's stomach dropped. She hadn't thought, she hadn't considered. Morwen was right. They will be waiting for you. Morwen continued, her voice dripping with barely concealed contempt. At every gate, every door, every entrance to every holding that bears your name, they will surround your lands and starve you out like a rat in a trap. Kalitsa, her code billowing in the air. Then where? Kalitsa gasped, her flight becoming erratic as panic began to claw at her throat. Where do I go? Silence. Heavy, deliberate. And then, Morwen's voice dropped to something lower, darker, older, a sound that seemed to come not from Kalitsa's mind, but from the very depths of the earth itself. Her voice was cool, calm, measured. There is a place, she whispered, and the words carried the weight of centuries. A place that has not been occupied since before. No matter. A place forgotten by maps and memory alike. A place where I once dwelled. A pause, pregnant with meaning, before I was cast out into the shadow and darkness. Kalitsa's eyes widened. The wind rushed past her, but she barely felt it. Where? She breathed. High, in the Thornspire Mountains. Morwen answered, and Kalitsa could hear the smile in her voice. Cold, satisfied, dangerous. Beyond the passes that men dare not travel. Beyond the forest where the trees go black and twisted. Beyond the reach of Ella Snow's pathetic kingdom. Kalitsa's heart hammered in her chest. The Thornspire Mountains. She knew of them. Everyone did. They were the jagged, impossible peaks that rose like broken teeth along the northern edge of the vampire territories. Mountains so high that peaks disappeared into perpetual cloud. Mountains so treacherous that even the most experienced climbers refused to venture into their depths. Mountains where things lived. Ancient things. Hungry things. Wrong things. There stands a fortress. A fortress where the witches once dwelled. Greater than any black stone. Her voice taking on an almost reverent quality. Built in the age of shadows, when the first witches ruled the night. That's right. We were first. Its name has been forgotten by the living, but the dead still whisper it in their dreams. She paused, letting the weight of her words sink in. Velcris. The name echoed through Colette's mind like a bell tolling in an empty cathedral. Velcris. Even thinking it made her skin prickle with goose flesh. It was my sanctuary. Morwenth whispered, her voice thick with memory and longing. My seat of power. My throne room where I commanded legions of shadow and bent the living to my will. And I will again. My legion will attack the vampires. I will take my throne back. Before the queens rose against me, before they cast me down, before they dared to imprison me in the spaces between worlds! Kalitza could hear the rage building in Morwenth's voice, centuries of fury compressed into every syllable. But I am to be shut up! But you said that I was to be queen, and you will. Until he comes. The fortress remains, she continued, voicing her voice back under control. Empty, waiting, mine, and now, a pause that stretched like a held breath. Yours. Kalitza's hands trembled. Velcris, she repeated aloud, testing the name on her tongue. It tasted like ash and iron and ancient stone. Yes, Morwenth purred. The Velcris. A fortress carved into the mountain itself, impregnable, invisible, protected by magics older than the vampire queens themselves. There you will be safe. There you will be hidden. And there, her voice dropped to something almost tender, almost loving, you will give birth to him. Kalitza's hand moved instinctively to her abdomen, where the child stirred and fed on the blood she'd taken from Sylvie. How do I find it? She asked, her voice barely audible over the wind. Change your course, Morwenth commanded. Turn north. Follow the blue ring of the eclipse. It will guide you true. Fly until you see the twin peaks they call the Widow's Fangs. Beyond them lies a valley that appears on no map. And at the head of that valley, Kalitza could hear the smile in her voice again. You will find your new abode. Kalitza didn't hesitate. She couldn't afford to. She banked hard to the left, her body tilting sharply as she changed course. The landscape below whirled dizzyingly, forests giving way to rocky foothills rising into the first jagged slopes of the Thornspire Mountains. The air grew colder, thinner, harder to breathe, but Kalitza didn't slow. She flew faster, driven by desperation and dark purpose, following the pale blue ring of the eclipsed moon that hung above her like a malevolent eye watching her plight. Below, the world grew wilder. The forest became twisted and gnarled. The trees bent at impossible angles as if trying to escape the earth itself. The rivers ran black as ink. The rocks were sharp and cruel, jutting from the ground like knives. This was a place where civilization had never taken root. This was the witches' kingdom. A place where the old magics still held sway. A place forgotten by all but the most ancient and terrible powers. Perfect. Morwenth whispered into Kalitza's mind. Good. Yes, you feel it, don't you? The change in the air, the thinning of the veil between worlds. This is liminal space, Lady Veyron. This is where reality grows soft and shadow becomes solid. Kalitza could feel it. The air itself seemed to vibrate with power, raw, untamed, hungry. It called to something deep inside her, something dark, something that had always been there but had never been fully awakened until now. Nixroth cried out, a long, haunting sound that echoed across the mountains, and ahead, through the darkness and the blue-tinged light, Kalitza saw them. The Widow's Fangs. Two massive peaks rising side by side, their summits sharp as daggers, their slopes covered in ice that gleamed like bone in the eclipse's glow. They looked like the fangs of some impossibly vast creature buried beneath the earth, its jaws frozen mid-bite. Beyond them, Morwen urged, "Fly! Fly now!" Kalitza poured every ounce of strength into her plight, magic surging through her veins like liquid fire. She shot between the two peaks, so close she could have reached out and touched the ice-covered stone. The wind howled like a living thing, trying to tear her from the sky. The cold bit into her exposed skin like teeth, but she held, and then she was through, into the valley beyond. And what she saw made her breath catch in her throat. Velcrest revealed the valley was vast, impossibly vast, stretching for miles in every direction. But it was wrong. The trees here were not merely twisted, they were fossilized, turned to stone by some ancient magic, their branches reaching toward the sky like the clawed hands of the damned. The ground was covered not in grass, but in a thick, dark moss that glowed faintly with bioluminescent blue light, the same blue as the eclipse's ring. The air was thick with mist that moved like it had a mind of its own, swirling and coiling around invisible obstacles. And at the far end of the valley, rising from the mountainside like a crown of black thorns, was Velcrest. Kalitza's eyes went wide. The fortress was massive. It made Blackstone look miniature. Carved directly into the mountain itself, its towers and battlements honed from the same dark stone as the peaks around it. It looked less like something built and more like something grown. As if the mountain had simply decided to take the shape of a castle, and had done so over the course of a millennia. 7 towers rose from the main structure, each one topped with a spire that ended in a wicked point. The walls were smooth and seamless, unmarred by time or weather, covered in the same ancient ruins that Kalitza had seen in Morwen's ritual chamber in the caves. Windows gaped like empty eye sockets, dark and lifeless. A single bridge, impossibly narrow, impossibly long, stretched from the valley floor to the main gate, suspended over a chasm so deep that Kalitza couldn't see the bottom, even with the eclipse's light. The entire structure radiated power. Old power. Dark power. Forbidden power. Home, Morwen whispered, and her voice was thick with emotion. After all these centuries, my home. One day I will come back here, and it will be mine again. Kalitsa felt tears prick her eyes, though she couldn't say why. She flew toward the fortress. It could have been the icy wind. It was stinging and bitter and cold. She flew toward the fortress, her exhaustion forgotten, her fear transformed into something else. Awe. As she approached, she saw that the main gate stood open, not broken, not forced, but simply waiting. As if it had known that she was coming, as if it had been expecting her. She landed on the bridge with a stumble, her legs nearly giving out beneath her. And then she felt it, the first cramp. Nixral took flight from her shoulders, circling overhead once before diving toward the fortress and disappearing through one of the high windows. Kalitsa stood trembling on the narrow bridge, staring up at the towering entrance. The doors were carved with images she couldn't quite make out. Figures writhing in eternal torment. Serpents devouring their own tails. Symbols that hurt to look at directly. And above the door, carved in letters that glowed faintly with that same sickly green light. A single word. Velcris. Enter, Morwenth commanded softly. This is your sanctuary now, your fortress, your seat of power till he comes. Here, you will gather your strength. Here, you will give birth to our future. And here, he will rule beside me. Her voice dropped to a whisper that sent shivers racing down Kalitsa's spine. You will be completely, utterly mine here. Kalitsa took a breath, straightened her shoulders. What do you mean that I will be completely, utterly yours? Am I not to be queen as you promised? Oh, Kalitsa. Change of plans. Fear coursed through Kalitsa's veins. What do you mean? You will serve your purpose until I come. This place. You will live here, yes. But you will be under my command. You silly, foolish, stupid girl. Did you think that I was going to let you rule? Kalitsa's insides begin to twist. But you promised! Did I? My promise was to you as long as you did what I commanded. And you went against everything. Everything. I will leave. You cannot. The moment that you crossed under my threshold, entered my gate, you were mine. I'll kill it. I will end it right here. At that moment, Kalitsa's fingers were seized, and she could not move. You will do no such thing. You will do as I command. Don't worry. You will have a place here. You will be your son's mother, and I will treat you as such. but you will not be queen. So I'm nothing but a common servant to you. You always have been. Kalitza took a breath, straightened her shoulders. She walked into darkness, but no power. Into a future that was written in blood and shadow. Behind her, the blue-ringed eclipse watched, and far away, leagues and leagues distant, Queen Ella Snow stood in Kalitza's abandoned chamber, staring at Sylvie's strange corpse, her jaw set with terrible resolve. Tell me more about this Morwenth. Nera spoke up. Evil beyond measure, Ella. The most powerful. She will destroy us. No. But it's inevitable. She will not destroy us, Seraphina said. I've seen the visions. I've seen it. I told you, Ella, what I saw. All of it came back to Ella, lying on the altar in chains, covered in blood, screaming to the top of her lungs, thrashing back and forward in a place of total darkness, with candles and chanting. Then we fight. We fight to the bitter end. Yes. We fight. Ian stood beside her. We fight! We do not let anyone take our kingdom from us! You are the rightful queen! Nera looked at Ella. You are the rightful queen. We fight till the end. How long will this cursed eclipse last? Nera closed her eyes. Soon. It's losing its power. Soon. The moment that the eclipse is gone, we move out and we strike. Every soldier must be gathered. Yes, my queen, Ian said. A war was coming. A war between the vampires and the witches. Let's take an intermission, and when I come back, we will continue The Crimson Queen. I hope you are enjoying tonight's reading. Thank you for lighting up the donut. I love donuts. I love donuts. What do you think about Calypso now? Hey, Emma Bema. Hey, David Tyson. Hello. Hey, Turtle Woman. Hey, Toilet Spider. Hey, Axel Rose. Duchess of Dallas. Oh, I love your name. Thank you for sharing the live. Thank you for the repost. Thank you so, so much. I forgot to set, hey, Siamese, I forgot to set my timer again. Right, exactly. Much appreciated. Thank you so much. Hey, Sandy's mama. How are you? The war is coming. Thank you, Melanie. I do, X. I'm so sorry. I'm going to work on that. I'm going to work on that during my Thanksgiving vacation. Hey, Hopi Love, Little Butterfly. Thank you, Sandy. Thank you so much. I have to say, it is so nice to actually be able to do the movements and everything and not have to worry about filters and everything. I was like, just get your lazy behind up off the couch, you know, and put makeup on. Just do that. It's going to be so much better. Did she not? But how could she think that she was going to be queen after everything that she has done? You know, she hasn't did anything that Morwen requested of her. Not anything at all. So, for her to think that she was going to be queen, she's so conceited and arrogant, and yeah, so. You knew it? Did you really, Hopi? Oh. Yeah, as if she is going to be queen. How arrogant and pompous of her. I can't believe my voice is holding up for tonight. I was really worried. She messed up everything. She messed up the first deal. And then of all the bodies that she could have taken, she takes Evangeline's, and she just doesn't think. She's very thank you, Melanie. She is very she just doesn't process. She just jumps, and she just doesn't think of the consequences of her actions at all. Hello, Magzilla, the thriller. I love that. I do. These are mine. Right, exactly. Very selfish. Spontaneous. So many different words that you can come up with Calypso, but honestly, I've had so much fun bringing her character to life. I wish you could see her in my mind. She is breathtakingly gorgeous, um, but she's hurt. She's a hurt woman that everything she tries to do backfires on her big time. Um, I am reading it off of my phone. There is no way that I would be able to just now, like when you see me look at the camera like this, whether you know it or not, you just saw me literally add something to tonight that was not on my book. I added the part about the last part that I read. That was completely up here, out to you. So when I do manage to get the book published, Crimson Queen, Blood in the Snow, Cherry Hill, it's going to be so much more in depth because as I am writing it, more will be added, if that makes sense. Is that you, Kelly? I've got it right here. Most of it I read from memory, but I've got it right here just in case. But then sometimes I might just completely go off on another tangent and just completely add it on. I might do that from now on when I have just literally seen this scene in my mind and I'm writing it, and I'm going to let you know that wasn't planned for tonight. All right, thank you, Melanie. It is time to continue the reading of the Crimson Queen. So that was quite a shocker, wasn't it? Calypso, thinking she was going to be Queen of Blackstone with all of her silly, foolish, stupid mistakes that she makes. No. No, 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 no. Calypso's footsteps echoed through the entrance hall of Volcris, each sound bouncing off ancient stone and dying in the vast emptiness beyond. The darkness pressed against her from all sides, thick, suffocating, absolute. The blue light from the eclipse barely penetrated through the high windows, casting only the faintest illumination on the crumbling grandeur around her. Water dropped somewhere in the distance, a slow, maddening drip, 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 that echoed through unseen corridors. Calypso's palms were sweating. She had to get out of here. She had to leave. She had been lied to. Everything was a lie. Her rule, her power, usurping Ella Snow, it was all a lie. But how could she get out? She had to play Morwenth's game. I just added that. The air was cold, bitterly cold, seeping through her cloak and wrapping around her bones like frozen fingers. The smell of decay and neglect hung heavy in the atmosphere. Centuries of abandonment crystallized into a scent that made her nose wrinkle with disgust. She had the card. She had the child in her belly, and immediately her abdomen was seized with extreme pain. Oh, no. No. She stopped in the center of the entrance hall, her arms wrapped around herself, shivering despite the satisfaction, still warm in her belly from Sylvie's blood. But the plight had taken it out of her. The baby was hungry again. She looked around at the crumbling stones, the cobweb-draped columns, the broken furniture settled like bones of some long-dead beast. Her lip curled. You expect me to have a child in this condition? Silence. Morwen! It's cold, she complained, her voice echoing back at her mockingly. It's damp! It's dark! Her voice carried up the long, grand stairs. She kicked at a piece of debris, what might have once been part of a chair, and watched it skitter across the floor. She thought to herself, how have I ended up in this situation again? She remembered back to her own neglected manor that her family had left her in disgrace. Here she was again, in the darkness, in the emptiness. More wind! It's exactly what my home was before I was exiled to Blackstone. Her voice rose, taking on the petulant, whining quality of a child denied her favorite toy. This is terrible. This is miserable. Oh! I can't stay here. There's nothing. There's no warmth, no comfort, no silence. The words crashed through the hall like thunder, reverberating off every stone, shaking dust from the ceiling. Kalitza jumped, her hand flying to her chest, her eyes going wide. The shadows in the corners seemed to writhe with fury. And then Morwen's voice came again, low, dangerous, dripping with contempt. You spoiled, wretched child. Each word was a slap. Kalitza's face flushed hot with shame and anger. After everything that I've done for you. You lied to me! You lied! I did not lie. I told you that if you mess this up, that I would destroy you. Did I not? Kalitza remembered back to the caves, to the conversation. Indeed, Morwen had said that if she crossed her, there would be consequences. After everything that I've done for you, Morwen continued, her voice vibrating through the very stones of the fortress. After all that you have survived, after the murders, the deception, the escape, I turned the moon black for you. After carrying my air in your belly and fleeing the most powerful vampire queen in centuries. A pause heavy with disappointment. You dared to whine like a spoiled brat who's been denied her silk pillows. Kalitza opened her mouth to protest. You have learned nothing. Morwen snarled. You are still the same selfish, shallow little girl who thinks power means comfort. The same shallow vampire who came to my caves begging for help. Who believes that greatness comes without sacrifice. Who expects the world to bow before her simply because she wants it to. Just stop! Just stop, Morwen! Stop? The words cut deeper than any blade. Kalitsa's hands clenched into fists at her sides, her jaw trembling with suppressed rage and humiliation. I didn't! She started, her voice small. You didn't what? Morwen snapped. You don't think! You didn't consider! I thought perhaps you would grow, but I was wrong. You've only grown worse. More selfish, more spoiled. I will keep you in comfort for my son's sake. Certainly not for yours. Silence fell cold and heavy and suffocating. Kalitsa stood in the center of the rund hall, trembling not from the cold anymore. The cramps had passed, but from the force of Morwen's fury. She felt small, insignificant, wrong. And then Morwen's voice softened, just slightly, just enough to be more terrifying. If you threaten to do any harm to Aiden's son, I will take you to the bridge and string you up for the vultures to devour. I just read that part. You doubt me? Do you doubt me? No. No, I don't doubt you. Good. But perhaps, she murmured, you simply need to be shown what power really looks like. There was a pause. Kneel. Here. Kneel! Yes. Yes, I'm kneeling. I'm kneeling. Kalitsa's body moved before her mind could process the command, her knees hitting the cold stone floor with a sharp crack that sent pain shooting up her legs. She gasped, looking into the darkness, her eyes searching for Morwen's form. Now watch, the witch whispered, and learn what it means to serve a true queen. Morwen's presence filled the hall, invisible but undeniable, pressing down on Kalitsa like a physical weight. And then she began to speak. Not in any language that Kalitsa recognized, but in something older, something that existed beyond words, before speech, before sound itself. The air began to vibrate, the stones began to hum, and Morwen's voice rose, rhythmic, powerful, inevitable, weaving a spell that seemed to reach into the very foundation of reality and bend it to her will. by shadow's birth and darkness sold, by power hoarded, power told, by throne of bone and crown of night, I call forth fire, I call forth light. A spark ignited in the center of the hole, tiny, fragile, floating in midair like a firefly in the dark. Calypso stared at it, transfixed. Velcrest sleeps, but Velcrest hears. Awakened now from centuries' years, stone and shadow, wood and wire. Remember life, remember fire. The spark grew brighter, larger, and then it split. Two flames now dancing around each other in a spiral pattern. 4, 8, 16. Let hearts that died burn fierce again. Let chandeliers forget their pain. Let torches blaze on every wall. Let warmth return to hall and hall. The flames begin to move, shooting outward like arrows of light. Racing across the hall in streams of gold and crimson, they hit the massive fireplace on the far wall, and it erupted into a roaring light. Fire surged upward, filling the cavernous earth with heat and light, crackling and spitting sparks that danced like tiny stars. Calypso gasped, feeling the warmth wash over her face, but Morwenth wasn't finished. Is that better? Yes. Rise, O flames, from depths below. Melt the ice and thaw the snow. Drive out damp and banish cold. Make this fortress bright and bold. The flames spread faster now, leaping to the torches mounted on the walls, igniting them one by one in a cascade of golden light that swept through the hall like a wave. Whoosh! 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 Each torch burst into life with a sound like a sharp intake of breath. The darkness fled before them, retreating into corners and cracks, dissolving like morning mist. Calypso rose slowly to her feet, her eyes wide, her mouth falling open in wonder. Chandeliers of crystal bright. Remember beauty, remember light. Candles white and candles gold, burn as once you burned of old. High above, suspended from the vaulted ceiling, on chains of black iron, massive chandeliers began to glow. Slowly, at first. Just a faint shimmer in the crystal. And then, brighter. The candles mounted on each chandelier ignited simultaneously, hundreds of flames bursting into existence all at once, filling the hall with a warm golden radiance that made the crystal prisms catch and refract the light into 1,000 dancing rainbows. Calypso spun in a slow circle, staring up at the chandeliers as they came to life one by one. 5, 10, 20, each one blazing with light that banished every shadow, every hint of darkness, every whisper of cold. The hall was transformed. What had been a ruin became a palace. What had been decay became grandeur. The stone walls, no longer damp and crumbling, seemed to smooth themselves. The cracked ceiling, the moss withering and falling away to reveal intricate carvings of serpents and stars and symbols of power. The broken furniture reassembled itself with soft clicks and creaks. Chairs righting themselves, tables reforming from scattered pieces, tapestries unfurling from the walls where they hung, forgotten for centuries. Velcrest waits at my command. Rise and serve with steady hand. Warmth and light and beauty fair grace this space with queenly care. More fires ignited throughout the forest, in distant halls and forgotten chambers, in towers and dungeons, and kitchens long abandoned. Calypso could hear them, the whoosh of flames catching, the crackle of wood burning, the hiss of ice melting from ancient windows. The entire fortress was awakening, coming to life, becoming what it had been centuries ago. A seat of terrible, beautiful power. So moted be by witches' right, by blood and bone and ancient might. My castle stands no more alone, for I have come to claim my throne. The final word echoed through the halls like a bell tolling, and silence fell. But it was not the dead, oppressive silence of before. It was the silence of something alive, something breathing, watching, waiting. Calypso stood in the center of the transformed hall, slowly turning in place, her eyes reflecting the golden firelight. The hearth roared with flames 20 feet high. The chandeliers blazed like captured suns. The torches lined the walls in perfect rows, their flames dancing in unison. The cold was gone, replaced by a warmth that sank into her bones and made her realize just how frozen that she'd been. Is that better? The darkness was gone, replaced by air that smelled of burning wood and old magic and possibility. The darkness was gone, replaced by a light that made every carved detail, every intricate pattern, every forgotten beauty of Vilcris visible once more. It was magnificent. Morwen's voice came again, softer now, almost amused. Does this please you, Your Majesty? The words dripped with irony, a reminder of who truly held the power here. Calypso looked up, her face tilted toward the vaulted ceiling, where the chandeliers continued their brilliant display. Do you not have words? That is a first. She watched as the last few flames ignited, smaller candles on the walls, sconces in the corridors. And then across the great hall was a massive cathedral, floor-to-ceiling mirror. And slowly, it began to come to life. Shadows deepened, green swirls, the hissing of snakes, serpents, and then green orbs of light begin to shine. Yes, this place will be perfect for the birth of my son. Something rose within Calypso. My son! My body! Mine! I cannot trust you, Lady Veyron. What do you mean? I'm here, aren't I? You are here because I compelled you here. They are searching for you now. They are headed toward your holdings in the south. And when they do not find you, Ella Snow will be furious. The eclipse will let up soon. And when it does, everything will fall into place. However, you, little mother, what am I going to do with you? I know your thoughts. I heard them. Bide your time. You have the power. The snakes and serpents hissed around Morwenth, striking out at the mirror. Listen to them, my children. You think you hold the power here. Foolish, foolish girl. From out of nowhere, ropes begin to coil and slither across the floors. One latched on to Kalitsa's ankle. What are you doing? I'm going to keep you safe. Another one, coiled and ready, slithered across the floor and latched on, coiling tightly around her opposite ankle. There we are. Do you think that you're still in charge? Do you think that you are going to outbest me? Come! Another coil lowered from the ceiling and slithered down, down, down until it wrapped itself tightly around Kalitsa's wrist. No, Morwenth! Please don't do this! Don't do what? Keep my son safe? Another coil unfurled from the ceiling, a long rope, dangling down, slithering down, hissing, and wrapping itself around Kalitsa's opposite wrist. You don't threaten what is mine. Now rise. 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 The ropes begin to pull Kalitsa upward to where she was stretched across the great hall, suspended in air. There. How am I supposed to survive? Oh, gods, what are you doing to me? Keeping my son safe. You have your warmth. You have your light. You're no longer cold, are you? You will remain there until you go into the pains of bringing him forth. For how long? I don't know. I don't know. Now, sleep. Rest. And suddenly, everything was extinguished. All the lights, all the chandeliers, all the torches. And Kalitsa was left in darkness with only the roar of the fireplace. Morwenth neared the mirror, and her voice was deep and dark. My throne is almost within reach. A war is coming, and this time I will destroy them all. The eclipse remained unmoving, unchanging, unnatural. I wrote all that earlier, that part, and that wasn't the plan, but now it is. Unnatural. The blue ring hung in the sky above Blackstone Castle like a malevolent eye, casting its pale, sickly light across the kingdom. But it was not enough. Not nearly enough to pierce the suffocating darkness that had swallowed the world. Torches refused to stay lit for more than a few moments before guttering out with a defeated hiss. Candles melted into puddles of useless wax without ever producing flame. Even the ancient magical lights that had burned in Blackstone's halls for centuries, enchanted by the first queens themselves, flickered weakly and died. Snuffed out by the weight of the shadow magic pressing down on the castle like a physical thing. The darkness was absolute, suffocating and wrong. Servants huddled in corners, afraid to move. Guards stumbled through corridors with hands outstretched, trying desperately to remember layouts they'd walked 1,000 times. Nira, come forward. Yes, Your Majesty. Can you tell when this will end? It's in its last cycle. How do you know? Because the blue light around it is wider now. It's beginning to fade. Will she be able to put another one? It would be too soon. She might try to use it in war. But I would think her powers were becoming weaker, because that is the strongest spell that you can cast. You alter nature. You alter the crimson moon. Ella's eyes were blazing with a cold rage that could have frozen fire itself. We need to find her. We need to find her. I wonder what holding that she went to. Nira closed her eyes again. She didn't go to the holdings. What? Ian spoke up. She didn't go to the holdings, then where did she go? I need something of hers, something that was special to her. She took nothing with her. Everything is here. Her dresses, her gowns, her jewels, everything is here. Hand me that. Hand me that. There. It was a cloth covered in Sylvie's blood. A guard bent down and picked it up. Yes, that'll work. She's in darkness. She's panicked. She's terrified. She's hanging. What? She's hanging. Ella, like you. With it, Lord Volton. Remember how you were suspended in the air? Yes, I remember it well. She's hanging just like that. She's in the darkness. Wait. Something's talking to her. Morwenth. It's Morwenth. Where is she? Can you see where she is? It's dark. It's very dark. She's on this plane because I can see the eclipse. I can see the blue light through an arched window. She's in the veil. She's not beyond it. Well, that's something, Ian said. But we need to know where she is. What is her location? It's cold and dark. Jagged. Seraphina lingered near the balcony, her ancient face drawn with concern as she stared out at the eclipsed sky. Nira still stood with her arms crossed, her red hair streaked with blue catching the pale blue light, her deep green eyes sharp and calculating. She's being held prisoner by Morwenth. I wonder why she's holding her prisoner. They made a pact, some kind of pact, some kind of Kalitza disobeyed her. That's why she's hanging, because she disobeyed her. She did not do what she wanted, what she asked. Can you hear the conversation? Ian asked. A war is coming. Nira's voice changed. A war is coming, Queen Ella. You have your witch spying on me, do you? Ian, Seraphina, and Ella froze. Nira's face was panicked as the words proceeded forth from her mouth. Bide your time, Queen Ella, because your reign is almost over. And that is tonight's reading of The Crimson Queen. The war is closer. Who will win? The vampires or the witches? My stories burrow deep where they cannot flee, and in the darkest corridors of your nightmares, you belong. To me. 99 White Channel.